Obviously, the exhibition is about a creative narrative which is searching for a sense of place and a sense of location. All right. I think this idea of dislocation is quite interesting for us to look at 2025, so many years later, after this sort of swath of what you call apartheid, and prior to that, colonialism, and now, black nations, South African nations. What is important is that most young people have a sense of dislocation. First of all, let me address the site. Most importantly, the site is the site close to home. Okay. Home itself, of course, references the past of Yellowwood Park, and now it is in the present of Yellowwood Park, which is a cosmopolitan area. But the remnants of the past are still visible, and somehow we found a way to live with the past and the present. The work itself is the ancient language of yearning. The very first people in Africa, South Africa, I think, were the Khoi and the San, who also developed a very unique way of identifying the duality between physical existence, where we stay in physical space, and then the spiritual place of longing and yearning of who we are. That dichotomy still hasn't changed. It's never changed. It's been the same narrative forever, where we try to find a synergy between the internal space and the external space. What is important right now, at the spiritual level, is that we are disorientated. It's also symptomatic for me, if I look around me right here, why has Jess essentially chosen older people to be friends with? It's a serious question. Why are you older people hanging with Jess? And why haven't you invited younger people, your age? No, that's an important question. What was the role, which is now a covenant that has been broken? And that's what I was talking about, the broken covenant whereby the past and the present no longer find each other. That the past has lost credibility in the soul of the present. And I can apply that to the political narrative, and I can apply that to the church, the synagogues, whatever. Whatever religious place of being, we no longer find comfort and solace because the narrative is broken around the idea of the lack of authenticity in order that we can have intergenerational continuity. So young people no longer look towards older people for a sense of location. South Africans no longer look to the leaders for finding who they can be and who are we. Instead, we hear this negative narrative. I find all of that interesting. And I'm not going to answer those questions because they ponder, and I'm putting them out there for you to ask yourself. What is it that you will give to the future that will enlighten the way that the future may have confidence to live their life into the past? Why have you broken your covenant with young people? And why have you broken your covenant? It is about the lack of authenticity, a lack of integrity to actually, I'm not talking about loving now. I'm talking about the courage to hold values and to fight for them. So much so that you can give courage to younger people that there's something they can hold on to move and navigate into the future. What was it that was recorded on the walls of the caves which we are decorating? Our cathedrals. South Africa is full of cathedrals. Even before we term social construct as political space, there was a space where people And South Africans noted the difference between physical body and spiritual space. And they recorded it on the caves of South Africa. The mythic dance between physical body and the yearning of the soul. And who are those people who recorded it? They weren't accountants, lawyers, and doctors, with apologies to you who all are. They were just simply artists who navigated and recorded that forever. For us to be reminded that there is something fundamental to our search for identity, which includes creativity. And I'm dwelling on the word creativity momentarily because you think it's assigned to certain anointed individuals. It's not. It's in every one of us. You've just abandoned your authentic responsibility to your own creative mandate, to live imaginatively and creatively, with risk, because we're too fearful. What encouragement do we give to young people in South Africa that will create? We'll teach them as well as we can, and who will take them? The very people that we've blamed for post-colonialism, they will flee abroad because they're the only people who actually respect what they do. And we are left behind with tattered and tacky mausoleums, where our historical narrative is deeply, deeply questioned. There's nothing left for us to look up to. There's no place where we can send our children to look at what South Africans have looked at, felt like, and dreamed about. So you guys are in a space of dreaming today, of a person that's dreaming about what South Africa is and could look like. It is a narrative and a text of yearning. It isn't a text of dislocation. It is taking anxiety and transforming it into imagination and expression, which is called creativity. The pure sense of what the Khoi and the San were doing. Their anxiety was recorded as they were trying to make sense of the duality of their own impacted physical body with an environment that they were trying to understand. And they recorded it. Now we dust and we celebrate and we anoint the past, what's left of it, but we will not support the present. So what we have is a cultural narrative of genocide. Nothing is supported, except if it's entertainment. Okay? We'll support it if it's entertainment. We'll photograph it as a backdrop to our selfies. How many of you took some photographs in front of the pictures today? And you will send it on to people. But do you really understand? Do you really, and if you do, approach Jessica and thank her. Thank you.